It's a true story. 50,000 years ago, humans were already masters of the most hostile environment on Earth, the open ocean. Without metal, without compasses, and without modern mathematics, they did not just survive, they conquered. They crossed thousands of miles of deep blue water to find tiny specks of land in the middle of the Pacific. And once they arrived, they did something even more impossible. They built cities on the sea. The technology used by the people of Micronesia was not new. For over 50,000 years, human ingenuity had this power, and by the time they reached the islands of Pohnpei and Kosrae, they were the greatest navigators the world had ever seen. They did not need GPS. They read the language of the ocean itself. They used stick charts, intricate maps made of coconut fiber and shells, to map the invisible patterns of ocean swells. They tracked the flight of birds, the color of clouds, and the rising of specific stars to navigate with pinpoint accuracy across thousands of miles. This was a global expansion. While the rest of the world was still learning to farm, these Stone Age explorers were already claiming the most remote corners of the planet. They were the first true globalists, and their highway was the sea. On the eastern shore of Pohnpei lies a monument to this mastery, Nan Madol. It is a city of nearly 100 artificial islands built directly onto a coral reef. This is the Venice of the Pacific, but it was built with stones that would make a modern engineer sweat. The walls are constructed from massive columns of natural basalt, some weighing up to 50 tons. There is no mortar here. These logs of stone were stacked like a giant cabin, creating a fortress that has withstood the Pacific's fury for nearly 1,000 years. How did they move them? Legend says they used magic to fly the stones into place. Science tells us they used the same technology that had served them for 50 millennia: wood, rope, water, and the collective power of a highly organized society. They moved an estimated 750,000 metric tons of basalt across the island and into the lagoon. It was a feat of engineering that rivals the pyramids, achieved by a people who supposedly only had Stone Age tools. But Nan Madol was not alone. On the nearby island of Kosrae, the city of Lelu tells a similar story. Lelu was a massive urban center, featuring high walls, paved streets, and a complex system of canals. The scale of Lelu is staggering. The walls, built from the same prismatic basalt as Nan Madol, reached heights of 6 meters. This was the capital of a powerful kingdom, a place of high ritual and political intrigue. Lelu and Nan Madol proved that these were not isolated tribes. They were part of a sophisticated, interconnected civilization that understood how to manipulate their environment on a massive scale. They did not just live on islands, they created them. They turned the shallow reefs into a sprawling urban landscape, proving that primitive man was more than capable of building real palaces in the middle of the ocean. The story of Nan Madol and Lelu is not just a story of ruins, it is a story of human potential. It reminds us that the technology of the Stone Age, the ability to observe nature, to cooperate, and to innovate, is the same technology that eventually took us to the moon. These ancient Micronesians were not limited by their tools, they were empowered by their knowledge. They conquered the ancient oceans, built islands from nothing, and left behind stone monuments that still defy explanation.